I'm Sharnice,
And I'm Hampton.
and we are the Watsons. So, we have a special guest here with us.
Guests.
Yes. Well, they're like one unit, so it's just like they're one
Indeed.
person.
But I think
Yeah.
it's two people, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't think we don't look alike quite yet.
Not yet.
It's
Almost.
the whole light dark thing. So now
That's
that's
the
never gonna
only
truly
difference, though.
happen, right?
That's the only difference, just the shade.
So, let's introduce you guys. Who are y'all?
I'm Sonia Carter,
And I am Anthony Carter.
and we are the Carters.
All right, first question. How'd you guys meet?
Oh goodness, you go ahead, because it's two different stories, and yours is better. You go ahead.
Okay, so it was 24 years ago. This year,
just over 24.
just over 24 years ago, I was in my early 20s, and I went to a birthday party with my mom and my uncle. We were celebrating my uncle's girlfriend's birthday,
So 1997.
1997. She was turning 30. I was 21, and I thought, why am I going to this party with a whole bunch of old people? But I went, and I had a really great time watching my uncle and my mother.
Yes.
And yeah, we were there. And then the clock strikes, I guess, 11, and the place turns over into, because my uncle rented the club for her birthday party, her special birthday party. And I didn't know that once the clock struck 11, that it turned over to just a regular club. And so I'm dancing on the dance floor, and I noticed this person watching me because he was literally like following me. I went to the bar, and he was there. And then I just noticed him from the mirror, and I was like, okay, he's kind of cute. And so I went back out to the dance floor, and I said, I'm just dancing by myself. Well, I was. This is so true.
Yes, I was there.
So I'm dancing by myself, and then I turn around. He literally is right there in my face. And he's like, do you want to dance? And I'm like, well, okay, I guess you're right here, so I guess I'm going to say yes. But he was cute, and I saw him watching me, and I thought he was cute. So I said yes. And I said, hey, how do you know such and such? I forgot her name. He was like, who? And I'm like, how do you know such and such? And he's like, I don't know such and such. And I said, well, why are you here? I said, I'm here for a birthday party. He's like, this is a club. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, so he was like, yeah, at a certain time it turns over to a club. And I said, oh.
It was a Friday or Saturday night.
It was.
Yeah, it was a weekend, right? So it was a Friday or Saturday night. I was out with a couple of my fraternity brothers. We were celebrating. So this is the two sides of the story, right? Celebrating our chapter's anniversary. Brothers of A5A, throw that out there. Anyways, and so we decided to go to a club to have some drinks and dance or whatever you want to call it, hang out. And so from my perspective, it was just people in the club, right? You know, looking around, seeing whoever.
So you didn't know there was a birthday party?
No idea.
that had nothing to do with
I'm out there looking. Yeah, I'm on the prowl, right? Kind of hanging out. So we had a couple drinks or whatever you want to call it. We saw each other from across the room. There were some eyes there. I don't just randomly walk up. There had to be something. Anyways, because supposedly there was a whole interchange when I was getting the drink and you was in the same room and it was a big mirror and I looked up and we caught eyes and knew that we were going to be together forever. That didn't happen. But it was a bunch of us, and I thought, you know, she was cute. So I still remember that, what is it, a brown velour dress. And I walked up and said, hey, would you like to dance? I guess she was surprised by it. And but we did. And we essentially, I don't know what time that was, call it 11? We danced until the lights came on. Yeah. Actually, almost till the lights came on, because you know how you get that weird feeling when you're like dancing a while and you're like, you know, I might have overstayed my welcome a little bit on this one, right? You know, is she gonna get tired of me or whatever? So I said, you know, she said she was tired. No, you said your feet hurt.
Yes, my feet hurt.
And I said, oh, I think that's the sign to kind of step off. And she was like, no, you want to sit down and talk. So we sat down in some chairs next to us.
Do you want to sit down?
Now, so just to clarify, so you guys were dancing at 11?
Yeah. So we
The lights
went
come
from,
on at 1:45.
we was going.
Yeah, we were there.
We were going for a
That's a
while,
long
and that's
time.
why. So maybe that makes sense that her feet were hurting at that time. But we sat down and talked a little bit beforehand.
And what did you do?
I massaged her feet.
On the first night? First
Day
night?
day one in the club, massaging this woman's feet. So
Wait, had you ever done that before?
never. At least I'm gonna say that for the camera. No, no, I've never. No, we hit it off. I mean, we hit it off. It was it was an instant sort of kind of connection. We exchanged numbers and talked and things of that nature. But after that, it was just like almost inseparable because we talked a lot after that.
Yeah.
So that was the initial beginnings to our relationship. Yeah.
We started from there. I would say he walked me to my car. Well, me and my uncle to my car because we had to take him home. But yeah, I went home and I think we talked every day since then. Literally, talked every day since then. He wrote his number down on a piece of paper, but he didn't give me his last name. He just said Anthony C. because he didn't want me to have his last name. I guess he
And-
was the one stalking me. So I don't know.
Wait, but question: can we tell the audience how long did you have that piece of paper? How many years?
I can't remember. I threw it out, but I threw it out since then. But I kept it for years. It was just in my wallet.
As a memento to the day we met.
Gotcha.
Like that.
Understood. So, what was the difference though? Like, what made you want to massage her feet and dance for 2.5 hours?
I don't know if there's a thing that you can point towards, right? I think you've, we've been married almost 20 years, right? And we said been together 24 years. I don't think there's any one thing that you could say that I know for sure, right? We all have relationships and things of that nature. I think if we ever knew, we would been able to say, okay, well, we know for sure this ain't the right one, and we kind of moved on. But we were chatting and having fun. And to be honest, 24 years later, I think we're still those two people that's on the dance floor, right? I don't think any of that has really changed. There's tenets that we really run our relationship by, and one is that we enjoy each other's company. Like, this is my ace. Like, we're we hang out, we have fun, we laugh. If you remove the laughing from our relationship, it's over. If we can't laugh and giggle and make fun of each other and things of that nature playfully, I think Sonia and Anthony would cease to exist. Those things started that night. It was just like, hey, we were vibing, hanging out, and having fun. And of course, the first week you're gonna talk a lot to the person on the phone because you're getting to know them. But it felt a little different. It's easy to say in hindsight, but I can't. Can you point towards one thing?
I mean, I would say definitely I would say that I definitely married my best friend. We were friends before we became lovers. And he knows I get very uncomfortable talking like stuff like that. So
Because we're not.
we're not lovers.
I'm gonna talk about that here. But okay, gotcha.
No, but we were friends before we were lovers, and we consistently. That's been a consistent theme throughout our whole relationship. It's just friends. We can, like you said, I think it was different for him. I found him extremely confident. He was a very confident person. I never really met someone as confident as he was, and he had a lot of hopes and dreams and things that he wanted to accomplish, and I was really impressed with that. But I would say friends, it just felt very different.
Obviously, when we're doing this, right, and Charlie is my sister, right? So I've known her entire life. You start talking about what it takes to make a good relationship, and of course, I size everybody's relationship up that I see. A lot of our friends will call us and talk to us. I watch communication styles, right? I would say we over-communicate. We talk every day. I mean, we're working from home now, but it's easy for us to get up and walking back and forth between each other's offices, just catching up. How's your day going? What's the meetings like? People getting on your nerves, whatever you want to call it. When we were both going to our offices, text messages all day, maybe a phone call during the day. It was just constant. Do you know what just happened? This food, whatever you want to call it. It was just keeping in contact while you're driving home. You're driving home. I'm there before you, but we're talking in the cars before we get home to the same house, right? it matters, right? It matters that when something happens in my life, good or bad, there's no other person I would think about to call and talk to about it. It's her, right? And because I know at the end of the day, she is going to feel it with me, and that's big. You don't find that, and so I think that communication is a really key tenet for people trying to have a lasting relationship. There's nothing wrong with, to me, I think, over communicating.
So moving a little bit forward, we started about, where you guys were when you first met. Now moving to when you guys are thinking about getting married, how did you know this person is the one for you? I know it's 20 years ago, but just kind of thinking about, met tons of people, both of you guys, but what made each one of you say, yes, this is the person I want to be with?
Well, we lived together for how many years? 4 years? Yeah. We lived together for a couple years beforehand. So I think we almost had that trial, right? It gave us all those things that we talked about, being friends and communication and stuff like that, having fun, continue. And so when we lived together, it was almost like that trial run. Like, hey, can this thing work?
Yeah, so our relationship wasn't meet, fall in love, then get married. It was meet. I had a child, and so she was 2 years old when I met him, and so he had to make a decision whether or not he wanted to continue. Obviously, he decided to continue, and then it was okay. So merging families, that was a lot. Merged families again when you joined us, and that was awesome. And so we were young with 2 kids, and we were like, okay, we're going to figure it out, and we did. And so I believe I knew he was the one even way before that, way before the merger. I think it was still during the courting that I knew he was the one. It's just that we just had our path to marriage was very different to other people's path to marriage, because we had a house, we had bought a house together, and we had our mutual son together. So we're like, well, we might as well just go ahead and finish it off. And no, I'm joking. We were engaged. But it was like we've already started a family. We bought a house together. Let's go ahead and make this official. And that was when that song came out. So it was perfect.
What song was it?
Let's get married.
Let's get married.
So we were traditional. I was traditional in the sense that before I even asked for a hand in marriage, I talked to her father. I asked him, can I, and asked for permission and things of that nature. I think a lot of things that Sonia mentioned obviously are true. I just knew that I felt great when I was around this woman, and that I wanted that to continue. Because you got to think about it. She obviously had a daughter, and then what happened in my life changes forever, and now I'm raising my sister as well. Like she said, I had a decision to make, but then she had a decision to make, and fully walked into that 100% with no issue whatsoever. Like, this was our family, and we were going to, hold this family up 100%. This is all before we were married, right? So when you think about trials and tribulations of what a family can go through, you're talking about having kids, then losing a parent, and then bringing in a sister, and then being able to withstand all of that. I had been through one of the worst times in my life, losing my mom, right? To see that she was going to be there by my side, riding with me 100%. It was an easy one then. And I will say I copped out. We got engaged on Christmas Day. I got her a Christmas gift, so it was a quasi Christmas gift and engagement ring. I'm a finance guy, so I was saving a bit of money, but it's the truth. I still do that to this day, right? But it was an easy decision at that point. At that point, it was just like, let's go ahead and make it official.
The love was there. I mean, the love had always been there. That was the crux to us being able to do what we did with it. You know,
Yeah.
because the love was there. That was the foundation, the love and the friendship, and then we just kind of added all this other stuff and stress and kids and
And it still worked.
it still worked.
And if it still worked, then, I mean, it makes us Teflon from that perspective, I think.
That's fair. Question. So, because you guys kind of came in, you know, Sharnice came in early on, Shayna, obviously. So sometimes when people have kids in the midst of the marriage or relationship, then things can kind of shift. But you guys kind of started with that.
Mm-hmm.
So what has been one of the most difficult things to navigate in 24 years?
You want to go first?
You mean like with kids and marriage and
Yeah, just the whole nine. Because kind of like the kids were kind of already there,
Yeah.
right? So that wasn't necessarily a thing for you guys. Like it,
It's still
no,
a thing.
indeed.
Yeah.
But like sometimes it'll come in, you know, once the marriage has started, then
Yeah.
kids come, right?
Right.
And so then people get that shift, you know. But that wouldn't have necessarily been a shift for you guys because Shayna was already there, you know.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, we you realize that you don't know anything until you start living life, and we realized even though we had the kids, and we're like, okay, now we have to merge the kids. They have to be, you know, try to make them friends, or we didn't know what this. We didn't know how to like. Are they sisters? Are they? So that was you know that was you know.
dressed you alike.
We did. We dressed them alike, and we're like, well, they're not really sisters. She's really technically her aunt. So it's just like it was a weird. But aside from all that, I would say that the struggles, money was definitely a struggle. We had bought a house. He's a visionary. He's like, I want to get a house, and we were in our 20s, and but you don't realize when you buy a house how much a house really costs. You know, we weren't thinking about all those other things that come with a house, and we struggled with the kids and the house and trying to make it work. It was a struggle. Not to say that we did everything perfectly, because we did not, and we were not perfect parents or perfect people. We are not. I mean, no one's perfect.
Right.
But we put our heads down. We're like, we're going to figure it out, and we did. I would say I mean, I don't know how specific you want to get into, but I mean, there were struggles. A lot of struggles, because the kids, you tend to put the kids' wants and needs before your personal wants and needs, and then before your husband's wants and needs, especially when we had our mutual son together and he was a baby. I mean, it just became all Anthony. Everyone was all about little Ant, even Shayna and Sharon. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, he did. He kind of. But you just tend to forget that, you know, you have a husband, and you tend to forget that, oh, yeah, I'm a person as well. So I would say that in the beginning for us was the struggle, money and pulling all the kids together.
Yeah, we try to impart those jewels to the kids to tell them, like, if you asked Sharnice about struggle back then, I don't know if you would notice it, right? We kept a lot of that sort of to ourselves. That's us in our back room, making things happen and chefing it up whatever way we possibly could, keeping the tears in. But once again, that goes down as one of those things you could do together. You know, we talked to stories about going to the grocery store and bouncing checks and things of that nature, getting bounce checks fees over a couple $100s because we were robbing Peter to pay Paul. Because we were living good in, what was it? It wasn't a condo. What did we live in Manchester? A duplex? Yeah, so we lived in a duplex. Careers were going well. And we had a lot of extra money.
Discretionary, what we thought.
We thought, right.
Discretionary.
So easy to jump into a house, right? But a house takes everything, and in Connecticut, and oil, and all this kind of stuff like that. And we started realizing, you know, cutting the lawn and putting stuff down on it was so much. But we tried to make sure that the kids never saw that. They never saw when we were downstairs by the fireplace with no heat on because we didn't have oil, and I'm going to get diesel fuel to put it into the tank to keep everybody warm. They never saw that. It was just fun being in there. We had a 5-bedroom house. It was all this stuff. We had a pool in the back. It was great, you know. Yeah. But we were really overcommitted. But I look back at those things and say that made the relationship stronger. You keep working at it. You know, I mean, we made that mistake in our next house, right? Because we got a big house after that when we moved out into the, even further in the suburbs, and we made that mistake again. It was just like at that point our careers were going great. Yeah. We thought we could do anything, so we buy this big old $400,000-$500,000 house out in the suburbs of Connecticut, and thought we were living high on the horse, and the same thing happened. The bills start to rack up, and the mortgage is higher, and your salaries don't outpace as much as you thought. And the kids are busier, and the sports are more, and traveling with this one and that one. And Sharnice is going to like 2 high schools, and it's just, you can't fathom how much that could rip at a relationship. Mm-hmm. And so we're glossing past some of the things that happened, right? We were kind of telling you a little bit of the stories, but at the crux of that was still us trying to make this work, right? I mean, we were still challenged. There was some really challenging times during that. Yeah. But once again, in hindsight, if you can get through those times when you're like, the money is not there, and you spent this, and I did that, and why are we doing this, and this kid needs that, it just makes the relationship stronger.
And thank you so much. That wraps up another episode, or a few episodes, of Wife Life here with the Carters. I want to thank you guys for coming on here. It's been such a great experience. I know this is the first, but I definitely know will not be the last that you guys will be on here. With that said, let's close out. Please, if you haven't, like, subscribe, follow, share, everything. You can follow us on Instagram at wifelife.style. You can find us on the website, wifelifestyles.com. And even on Facebook on Wife Lifestyles. Anything,
That's
baby?
it.
All right.